barbecue and smoked meat. And in order to we don't have time in this video to do the traditional long cook and low and slow. So what we're going to do is use these wood chips to sort of impart some of that smoked flavor with some chicken that we're going to be cooking. So we're using as an alternative to the traditional charcoal and logs that get used for smoking meat. The alternative on a gas grill would be to use soaked wood chips and the gas grill is to use soaked wood chips in a smoker box, allow those to heat up and generate some of that smoke flavor, so you can still get that flavor on your meat and then finish it off later. So it kind of reduces the cooking time, and as well we're going to use smaller pieces of meat that cook quicker. So we'll have sort of like the best of both worlds. The meat will be grilled, and it will also have about 20 to 30 minutes worth of smoke flavor on it. So we've placed our soaked wood chips in the box, and the grill has been preheating now for about 25 or 30 minutes. So when you're doing this kind of indirect heat on the grill, you want the heat source to be isolated to one side to sort of ignite the wood and generate the smoke. And then we're going to end up these two. So this burner is on, and these two burners are off. And on the cold side is where we're going to end up putting the meat so that it doesn't overcook. So while we get that set up, we're going to place the smoker box over the high heat source. And then we're going to close the grill and just let that do its thing and allow the smoke to generate. So while we wait for that, what I have over here, I don't know if you guys can see.
Is there anything that you need me to help you with?
No.
Okay.
So we have a variety of fresh fruit and vegetables that I took the liberty of preparing in advance, A, in the interest of time, but B, also in the interest of food safety. Most outdoor kitchens or outdoor grill setups, some folks may or may not have access to a sink, and a sink is very important during food preparation. So since my sink access will be limited in this venue, I took the liberty of preparing almost everything ahead of time so I wouldn't have to wash my cutting board and leave the camera. And so all of this was done in advance to kind of facilitate the venue of us filming live. So what we're going to be making is a combination of two staple, I call them like cold salads or cold compotes. They're my summertime favorites. They're some of my go-tos. They're very versatile. They can either be used as a topping, as a standalone dip, or in a large enough portion, even as a small meal or small entree. So one of them is called mango papaya relish, and the other one is black bean, corn, and tomato salad.
Oh, that sounds delicious for a person who doesn't eat meat.
So, and we try to accommodate all desires. So the idea that I had was showcasing. So I first made mango papaya relish actually at a event that was hosted here by my good friend who's allowing us to use her space.
Say hi. And, it's been very helpful. Thank you.
So I used it on some grilled chicken wraps, and it was my first time making it. This was several years ago, and it ended up being a big hit. So that's always good to know when that happens. When a chef creates a dish, introduces it for the first time, and gets that positive feedback. That's what we're looking for. So I had used that as a topping on some grilled chicken wraps, and then later on, a few years later, I kind of modified a recipe that I learned at a place that I worked with. So black bean, corn, and tomato salad is actually pretty common, but I usually put my own spin on it as far as the dressings and the seasonings. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the mango papaya relish, and we're also going to make the corn, black bean, and tomato salad. And then for our vegetarian option, we're going to combine the two and then add a couple of things for some texture and some protein. So we have these portobello mushroom caps that we're going to grill off and slice and add to that combination for the vegetarian option. So
does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? Are any questions coming in, Crystal? Hello?
Can you repeat, Anne-Marie?
Oh, I said, no, I'm saying I was asking if there's any questions that are coming in that anybody's asking.
Okay, so I do have one question. What does he use to get the smoked flavor? Can he go over that again?
Oh, sure.
And what does he think about liquid smoke flavoring?
That's a good question.
It's a great
Very
question.
good question, Crystal.
Yes,
So
Anita Smith asked that question. Thank
Oh,
you for that
nice.
question, Anita.
Thank you for that question. Thank you.
So what we have here is soaked wood chips in a smoker box with direct heat. So that's what we're going to use to generate smoke from the gas burner. So like I had mentioned earlier, the left side burner is on high, the other two are off. And this is probably going to take about 15 or 20 minutes before it starts generating smoke. So we're going to want to leave that closed. So that's how we're going to mimic the indirect heat that you get on a traditional barrel smoker or offset smoker when you're doing traditional barbecue. We're going to be cooking some boneless chicken thighs. Again, for a quick cook, they're small pieces, about 3 to 4 ounces each, maybe some of them a little over 4 ounces. And they have the bone removed so that will facilitate quicker cooking. So you'll still have the same fat content as a traditional chicken thigh on the bone, but the skin is removed and the bone is removed. So we're going to reduce our cooking time. Traditionally, when you smoke bone-in chicken thigh, it could take you up to 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. On this application, we're going to impart about 25 minutes worth of smoke and then finish off the cooking after removing the smoker box. And as far as liquid smoke, it's you know, I don't have anything against liquid smoke. In most of the places that I've worked, there's been some sort of barbecue item on the menu, and most indoor commercial kitchens do not have a smoker. So in order to mimic that flavor, you typically marinate, as an alternative, marinate and cook whatever piece of meat you're cooking in some sort of marinade or mixture that does include liquid smoke. Liquid smoke is typically available in almost any flavor variety. You have hickory, apple, mesquite. You get the little jars, usually in the condiment section of your local supermarket. So it's a good tool to have when you're doing indoor cooking, and when just using a real direct flame or wood or coals is really not an option for you. The only option most home cooks are left with is to use liquid smoke to season your meat. So yes, it's definitely acceptable. Us in the hardcore barbecue circuit will say, if you have charcoal available and you use liquid smoke, maybe something's not right with that. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
So we're going to go ahead.
That was a great question. Thank you.
Start mixing. So we have some. We're going to go ahead and just start pouring. I may or may not use all of it. Just really depends. So we have some diced mangoes here, and we're going to put this. This had about 4 cups in there. We're probably going to start out with about maybe 2 cups. And then we also have some diced papaya. It's basically gonna be almost equal amounts of everything. So we're gonna put about 2 cups of that in the bowl. And then we have some Roma tomato. So the nice thing about Roma tomatoes is, so we have 2 very powerfully naturally sweet tropical fruit in the bowl. So to kind of balance that out, you're going to want to add something acidic. So tomatoes are naturally acidic. So we're going to go ahead and maybe put about just a little over a cup of the Roma tomato. And then I'm going to put my glove on. So we have avocado here.
Let me help.
Okay.
Yeah, but I want to do something.
So we're going to take Hass avocado.
I love avocado.
And we're going to take probably 1/2, for this amount, probably half the avocado is enough. So after we cut the avocado in half, we're just going to kind of score it. both ways. Put our knife down, and then we're gonna sort of scoop it out with a spoon and dump it into the mixture. Kind of scoop that out, turn it over. So this avocado is actually
I love Haas.
really ripe. I'll make sure we get that in there. So that's about right. So wipe off our spoon. All right, so now comes the flavor. So we have our base components in there. So now comes the flavor part. So now we're going to add, this is a mixture of finely minced red onion and garlic. So a little bit of this goes a long way for this amount. So we're going to take probably about just a tablespoon or two of that. And then we also have some chopped cilantro, which is going to brighten this up.
Okay, very colorful.
A couple of pinches of that. And now comes, like every chef's best friend, freshly cracked black pepper and kosher salt goes in like almost everything except my breakfast cereal. So this is so we're gonna add probably about a teaspoon of kosher salt. Oh goodness.
It's okay. Wash that. Oh, God.
And then
Sorry,
maybe
guys.
a half a teaspoon of cracked black peppercorn. And now for the marinade, we're going to use some light olive oil, probably about 2 tablespoons. We're going to take some honey, and that's going to be about maybe another 2 tablespoons. And what's going to happen with this as it sits, and then we're going to take some balsamic vinegar. Again, very small amount for this preparation. For there, we're going to go about just about that much is going to do it. Balsamic vinegar is very aggressive, so a little goes a long way. And believe it or not, this is almost done. So we're going to just now gently fold everything together.
So as you can see that this salad has taken on a beautiful color. As you can tell, the oranges, the reds, it just looks delicious. I can't wait to try it. I'll definitely tell you guys how it tastes when it's all said and done at the end.
So there goes our first preparation. We're going to get that in our serving bowl.
Looks delicious, guys.
And there you have it. So we're going to let this sit for a little bit
For that.
while we prepare the next. So I'm going to pull my glove off. And the preparation for the corn and black bean is actually very similar, if not almost identical, except you're not going to have in the corn and bean salad, you're not going to have that overpoweringly sweet taste of the tropical fruit. It's going to be more, a lot more simple and a lot more crisp, because all it's going to get is the black beans and corn mixture plus some of the tomato. And we're going to do actually almost the same.
Okay, so I'm gonna help Jordan.
It's okay.
Yeah, That's the whole thing. We're supposed to do it together. Jordan.
We have another question, guys.
Right.
Okay. Yes, please ask.
Yes, so
Just on there.
Anita wants to also know, what can you tell us about when an avocado is going bad? Like,
Bad
what are
as in
some of the tips you can give us on that? Because I know sometimes I've cut into some very awful avocados.
right. So avocados are one of those things. They're very temperamental, and it really depends on where they're coming from. In the United States, the avocados are typically picked in countries that grow avocados, and they're picked at a very underripe stage. And avocado is one of the only fruit that continue to ripen while not attached to the plant. Another example would be a banana or anything in the banana family, like plantains, yellow banana. So you check by firmness. There's a lot of different tricks. It should be firm to the touch, but able to depress the skin a little bit. Another trick that folks use is sometimes pulling off this stem where it was attached to the plant, and when it's no longer like very bright green, when it's looking kind of pale like that, that's a good sign that the avocado is ready to go. Anything past that, it may be overripe. All right, so we've cleaned out our bowl. So now for the black bean and corn salad, so the ratio of this is, these are rinsed canned beans and rinsed corn. In the summertime, typically you want to use fresh corn on the cob. In the interest of time, we're not able to do that today. But typically in this kind of salad, the corn, actually I will roast it on the cob to get kind of like a char on the outside, let it cool down, and then slice the corn off the cob and then cool it down and then incorporate it, with the beans. But you can do just as good. Like I said, we're trying to do preparations that are friendly for the home cook. A lot of folks don't have a lot of time to grill corn and get marks on their corn. So it's perfectly fine to use frozen corn or canned corn in this preparation. Because you're really, although charring the corn does give you another depth of flavor, you can make up for that with the seasonings, and it's going to be just as good. So the ratio of this is 1 can of black beans to 2 cans of corn, the standard 15-ounce cans. That's the ratio I always use. Again, we're probably not going to use all of this. We're probably going to use, to fill up our serving bowl, probably about half this mixture and reserve the rest for later. And then we're going to go back to the Roma tomato and then again add, right. So because the tomatoes are large, so you kind of want to be conscious of the distribution of your ingredients and how it's going to look. We're going to go right back to our minced red onion and minced garlic mixture and use about the same amount, about a teaspoon and a half. This garlic has not been cooked, it's raw garlic. So whenever you're putting raw garlic into salad dressing or any kind of preparation, it's not going to be cooked unless your audience likes that flavor. You're going to kind of want to be reserved about the amount of fresh garlic that you put in there because after a while it can be very assertive. So, so here we are, and we're back to the old salt, pepper. So what I like about salt is a natural dehydrator. So what it does is almost any food that you put it on, if you let it sit there for a while, it will start to draw out the moisture. So what happens with these cold compote preparations and any cold salad preparations where you have no greens but a bunch of solids, eventually over time the water content that's in the fruit and vegetables that you're using will mix with the marinade ingredients, and you get a very nice sort of what I like to call a cold broth that will kind of end up saturating and permeating the ingredients. So now we're going to go ahead with black pepper. And then again, this time we're going to go heavier on the honey because we don't have, I went light on the honey and the other preparation because we had a lot of already naturally occurring sugar in those particular ingredients. This is going to be more on the acidic and bland side, so the bean and the corns are going to need a little bit of help, to achieve that balance that we're looking for. So we're going to hit this with about 2 tablespoons of the white olive oil. And over there, we put about 1 tablespoon of honey over here. We're going to try to kick it up to about 2.
Okay, good, everyone.
And then again, with about the same amount of the balsamic. Very little, not a teaspoon. And that's all she wrote. And now, Miss Anne-Marie insists.
I get to actually help by mixing.
I'm helping, sure. And go ahead. And basically, we just hold the bowl with one hand and just gently turn everything until it's well incorporated.
It looks good, everybody. I can't wait to try it.
You did forget one thing. So they
The
both do get
cilantro.
the cilantro.
The cilantro. See how it's looking?
Also, Chef,
So
can
there's
you
some questions.
tell us what kind of honey and olive oil you use?
Yes, the olive oil is a light olive oil blend. So it's a blend of canola and extra virgin olive oil, which I like for cold preparations. You can also use pure extra virgin olive oil if that's what you like. What you want to stay away from is the oil that's used for sauteing. If you're going to use pure extra virgin olive oil, you might want to go a little bit less. And then the honey, this is clover honey, which is one of the more popular honeys in the supermarket. But you can use almost any honey that you have.
You're going to taste this one?
Yes. Here, in case we spill something.
Okay.
Looks delicious. I wish I was there with you.
It's so colorful, that's what I love about it. Too bad we don't have Smell TV.
Yes. Thank you. So there we have it.
I have another question.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a question from Stacy on Facebook, and she says, how do you make the choice that you make regarding the flavors to put together? I find that some chefs oversaturate the plate with too many flavors.
So over seasoning we're talking about?
She said oversaturate the plate with too many flavors. So I'm guessing having all the things together. How do you make the choice of what you make regarding the flavors?
All right, so it really depends on what the final composed dish is supposed to be. I've just learned over time, cooking is very subjective. So what one person may find too aggressive, the next person may not necessarily. Typically, I go with the formula of the composed dish. So in this case, we're going to be making some wraps, and I have some moderately aggressive seasoning that's going to go onto the meat. So to counter that, you want something nice and fresh and crisp to kind of balance everything out. A good thing to know too is being aware of how large your cooking vessel or your mixing vessel is, and follow recipes. I've learned everything through my training at Monroe. I've learned from other chefs. We all learn from observing. So aside from ingredient choice, I pay close attention to the ratios of what quantity of main ingredient you have, and then what quantity of seasoning goes for that size batch. And if you pay attention to your recipes and the ratios, and you have to taste everything. You have to taste everything before it goes out. So that's how you kind of learn over time what's too much, what's too little. It really depends on what you're serving. If I'm making a braised beef stew that's going to be accompanied by potatoes, so I already know that the braised beef is going to be very heavy, very aggressive. So my starch is going to be something very plain and very lightly seasoned so that the entire dish, when put together, is not too overpowering. So that's kind of like the way I approach my composed
The
foods.
seasoning.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chef.
we have another question.
Sure.
Someone had asked, say you have children that do not like tomatoes, how do you, or what do you substitute for the tomatoes?
That's a very good question. If they don't like tomatoes, and you're looking for the same kind of mouthfeel and the same refreshing feeling, fresh cucumber is a good alternative to that. It's not as acidic or
It's very
aggressive
water,
as the tomato,
very water-based.
but it's very water-based and takes on sort of a similar texture. So you can very easily use both tomato and cucumber in these preparations, or one or the other. Well, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
From Karen, she said thank you. So
Oh, you're welcome.
thank you, Karen, for the question. That was a good one. Yeah, so as you can see, Chef is doing a really good job. We're so glad that we were able to come outside because, as you know, for the past 3 months, Coffee and Conversation has been done via Zoom with us being inside. So it really feels good to be out. And the good thing about it is I'm not too far from here, so it was a quick drive from my house to get here. So it was very convenient, but we're so glad that we could be outside for our Coffee and Conversation series today, as opposed to being inside. And, you know, sorry we can't bring the food to you, but hopefully in the next month or two, we can get to do something where we're actually together, still social distancing, because as you can see, like I showed you before, I have my mask on. So I am definitely practicing what I need to practice, and Chef is not standing too close to me. Everybody's kind of apart. We thank you so much for our host. She's been gracious to us, so we appreciate that. But somebody just said something. I think they said thank you for the demo. We appreciate you guys joining. You know, every 2 weeks we try to do something really interesting and fun. And as we've said before, Coffee and Conversation is basically about the alum coming together, connecting, networking, learning, growing. It's a safe space for us to come together. And Crystal and I appreciate you guys. We really do. We've grown a lot in the last few months. And we're looking forward to the fall. We'll definitely have some good things that we'll have planned for you guys. But Crystal, I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, I'm just jealous right now that I don't get to taste taste the
You need to
food.
live in the Bronx. You need to come back one more
I'm,
time.
I'm just jealous right now. But if anyone has any more questions, you can post them. I'm not sure if are we gonna see another demonstration, or is this it for us?
Yes. As he's getting ready, as you can see, he has the
Okay.
chicken cutlets prepared.
Yes.
So if anybody wants to ask a question, or even if they want to just ask a question about what we do, what we're doing, we have Joe on, who's been, you know, being a part of the program with us for the past couple of months. We have Catherine on. We have, does Chef Lewis have a website or social media? Yes, he does. So we'll drop it in the chat. He does have both. And I'll come again and just show you the information he has on this bag, which I'm sure probably has some of his utensils and stuff like that in it. Here's the barbecue sauce that he has. So it's available for, yes, he is. They said you're very personable, Louis.
Oh, well,
Yeah, well, he's a Monroe alum. Of course he's personable. That's what we do. But we thank you guys. We hope you guys are not just joining today, but will continue to join us. Yes, Anita, that's exactly who we are. We hope that you continue to join us. Like I said, we do this bi-weekly. It's just that this week, because Chef was able to, you know, do the event for us today, we are having the event today, and we're going to have something next week. Mondays, we usually start posting the events for the next week. And also on Tuesdays, Crystal and myself, we go live on Instagram on the Monroe page, and we just give like a little 5-10 minute overview of what's to come. We normally have a guest speaker. If we have a guest speaker, it usually goes for half an hour, but it's just like our little talk show that we have on Tuesdays. So please try to join us Tuesdays at 6:30 and hear what we have going on, and join us every other Saturday. This week we're doing back to back. So we have Chef Lewis this week. Next week, Saturday, we're going to have some of our alums that are entrepreneurs that will be coming on and talking about how they've helped each other with connecting through our Alumni Association events, and how their business now is actually, you know, has improved and is taking up a little bit more. So please share, like, whatever you need to do. And we're back to Chef Lewis.
Okay. So we're gonna make three versions of wraps here. Basically what we're doing is, in essence, we're building a sort of do-it-yourself kind of wrap, soft wrap situation, something very similar to what places like Chipotle do, where you just go through the line, you kind of select your ingredients, and then you can mix and match and really make it your own. So with these preparations, what we have going here is really a situation where there's something for everyone. So what we have over here on the far left are the boneless chicken thighs that have been lightly coated with yellow mustard and some olive oil. And the purpose of that, we're going to use a barbecue dry rub, and that is so that the rub adheres to the meat. So it's more like a binder and also like a lubricant. The boneless chicken cutlet breasts are unseasoned. This is one of my favorite ways to do chicken breast. You don't need much. What we're going to end up doing here is a very simple salt and black pepper only, with a touch of olive oil. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Really, you can really showcase the flavor of the chicken that way. But since I mentioned about balance before, so we have some very highly flavored accompaniments that we made here. So out of all three of the meat preparations, this is going to be the least aggressive for folks who are looking for something that doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. So basically the wraps that get the sliced grilled chicken, the star of the show of that wrap will be the accompanying fillings. And then second in order would be the ones that are going to get the barbecue rub. And over here, what we have is a piece of beef skirt steak, which comes from the bottom of the animal. And it's generally has a lot of fat on the outside. So this I already trimmed at home in the interest of time. And what I like about skirt steak is, so about beef and whole muscle beef cuts, typically most whole muscle beef cuts that are cut into like steaks or fillets are really meant to be eaten medium rare to medium. Once you start getting into the well done, depending on the cut of beef that you have, well done will result in a tougher, chewier piece of meat. But I know everyone's not the same. I know there are still some folks out there that may be apprehensive about eating red meat that's still a little pink, and that's okay. Those people are our customers too. So what you want to try to encourage with those folks is lean them towards cuts that can withstand that kind of cooking temperature without losing tenderness. So skirt steak is one of those semi-forgiving pieces of meat where you can get away with serving it medium well to well and slicing it thin and still have a palatable bite. So that's why I chose skirt steak for today. And what we're going to do with this skirt actually is kind of move some of this stuff over to the side. So first, I saw some smoke coming through there. So the first thing we're going to do now is grab our tongs. So this is how I learned how to work without gloves. I use tongs and utensils for everything. And then we have the two sets. We have one. I have two tongs because we're working with chicken and beef.
One for beef.
So there'll be a chicken tong and a beef tong. So that way we're mindful of cross-contamination. And then every now and then off camera, I'll hit the utensils with some sanitizing wipes. to kind of keep everything fresh and clean. So this is actually a prototype. I call it BXNY Rub. Our business is Bronx-based, and we're very proud of that. Monroe College also starting in the Bronx and then branching out to New Rochelle later on. So Monroe College is a Bronx school. So what better way or venue to showcase our Bronx-based business? So this is actually a prototype. We plan on releasing this dry rub sometime after we release the 2 new flavors. So you guys can be on the lookout for that, our version of Southern Barbecue Rub.
That's great to know.
So we're going to be, this looks like a lot, but it's really not.
So this is what an entrepreneur looks like. They're always coming up with something new to add to their product line. So this is great.
So, and I just wanted to say something about Father and Son's Kitchen as a brand. So personally for me, outdoor cooking and barbecue cooking and grilling, my true passion. But through my training at the Culinary Institute in the Monroe kitchen, you know, my exposure to a lot of other dishes, both at the Monroe kitchen and through my field experience, kind of opened up a whole set of appreciation. You know, it brought a bigger appreciation of a wider range of foods, ingredients, and preparations that, you know, that I wasn't aware of actually, you know, prior to going to Monroe. And I had cooked a lot as a hobby, and I didn't realize how much I didn't know until I actually got to school. So, which also lends to what people ask me, you know, how much do you know about cooking? And my answer is always, I know absolutely nothing, and I need help. I need help every single day, because it's important to really recognize that no matter how much you do know, there's probably two or three times the amount of information out there that you've never been exposed to.
Right.
So there's always an opportunity to learn something new. So back to showcasing Father and Son's Kitchen as a brand. Aside from the barbecue sauce, which is my personal passion, through learning how to bottle my sauce at the school, I also learned that you can do the same thing with mustard, jams, chutneys, fruit butters, pickled vegetables. So the plan eventually is to expand the brand to include a world of condiments and jarred shelf-stable items that actually go beyond barbecue sauce. So we have our work cut out for us. Emery mentioned always having something new. So as soon as we figure out our favorite preparations as far as all those other items are concerned, you can take a look for our logo, maybe to be on your next jar of hot mustard, or maybe raspberry hot sauce. You never know what we might come up with.
Exactly.
All right, so this subtle smoke, I know it's kind of hard to see, but I can see some of the pieces of wood are turning black. So that means I know that there's smoke in here. I just kind of got to keep this closed. So it is, I do see it coming up, but it's escaping. So we're going to hit the right side, which is our non-heat side, with just a little bit of cooking spray. Go ahead and grab our boneless chicken thigh. And place them away to the direct heat. And then we're going to close the grill. Allow these to sort of slow cook for a little bit. And then at the same time, closer to the direct heat source, we're going to want to start to soften up these portobello mushroom caps. So we're just going to cover those. Cover those with some olive oil. Grab one of my gloves and sort of make sure those are well coated. And we're going to hit those with some salt and pepper. And while the chicken is cooking,
Getting bit.
Well, is Chef saying something? Or not hearing?
No, not right now. He's just preparing
okay.
some.
Okay.
coating.
Any other questions, Crystal, coming in?
I'm not seeing any questions. We're just enjoying the show.
Okay.
Okay. Hit our mushroom caps.
Am I doing fine with the camera? You guys are getting the shots.
Yes, the
seeing stuff
camera
well.
is wonderful. Just sometimes the
Okay.
sound is in and out.
Okay.
I just want to be sure it's not just me.
Okay, no.
All right, so
That's
closer,
okay.
closer
Can
to
you hear
the-
him now? Because he's talking now.
Closer to the direction.
Yes.
we start placing the mushroom caps. So we could take advantage of this grill space. So we're gonna let that go for a little bit. Let the chicken kind of do its thing, soften the mushrooms, wait for that to come up to temperature. Then we're gonna season and portion out our steak. Just to get this to stick a little bit.
Is Catherine on? Oh.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised you're not saying anything because you usually say, "How are you, Catherine?"
Oh, yeah. I'm just wow. This is awesome.
Okay, great, great. I'm usually like Catherine usually says something. We just had another question in the chat too.
Right ahead.
Catherine, you want to ask something first, and then you want to say anything?
Yeah. So what I really like about it is that it's really easy to do, because sometimes when we, have a title of chef, like regular people that just cook at home find it intimidating, like, oh my God, the chef. But he makes it really easy to follow, and it's not intimidating.
Great, great. That's good to know.
Good to hear.
That's
Thank you.
good to hear.
Soon will be available for private dining.
Is there an outlet somewhere around?
There, I believe there is.
Oh, okay, my phone is getting. Is there one close
That I don't know.
Just for my phone, to charge my phone. Is there one close? Okay, this is going dark.
So this is our skirt steak, which has just been lightly seasoned with
This is not my phone.
kosher salt, black pepper, and a touch of olive oil as a coating.
Jordan.
A touch of what, chef?
I'm sorry?
A touch of, we heard black salt, black pepper,
A touch of olive oil.
a
so
touch
that
of
the-
olive oil. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm coming. My phone is dying, but I'm about to plug it in.
So now we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing
No, it's not that one. Jordan.
with our chicken breast cutlets, which have almost no fat, so they don't need to be trimmed.
It's getting dark.
Okay, so now we're just gonna kind of turn these over to distribute the olive oil to both sides. So notice how I'm using oil pans for everything so that I don't get my cutting board dirty. So these are the kind of things that you have to really think about, especially when you're doing event cooking. And at work in commercial kitchens, everything's easy because typically when you go to work, you have everything that you need. But when you're doing a lot of in-person events, which we are available to do, you're limited by the venue that you're going to. So questions that I ask when I do on-site events, aside from how much space do you have, What kind of grill do you have? Is there a sink nearby? And then during the consultory stage for on-site cooking, then I can assess what the game plan is. I can design my menu based on the equipment and the resources that I have, which is why we always consult first before we do events, because the last thing you want to do is show up somewhere to cook and then have a plan and then have your plan fall apart because you didn't think about the resources that were available. So again, salt and pepper, I'm telling you, a lot of folks ask me, what do you season that meat with? What do you do? I get that question a lot with my hand-formed burgers. And no one really believes that all I ever really use is kosher salt and fresh black pepper.
So I do have a question.
Yes.
Because I stay away from a lot of things. One of the things is that I was told that, I have to use some type of salt because especially if you suffer with low blood pressure, right? So what's the difference between actually using the kosher salt and the just regular iodized salt?
Iodized salt has exactly that. Iodide. It's an additive that they add to the salt.
Okay.
Kosher salt typically doesn't have that. And the other difference is the size of the granules. So kosher salt is coarser, and they're not necessarily all uniform.
And they're a little bit larger
and
too.
they're larger, they're coarser and flakier. The iodized salt is like very uniform. Each one is like a little cube. They're all the same size. So that's the difference. When cooking, though, the biggest difference is it's a lot easier to over salt with the iodized salt because it's more free flowing. And if you're not careful when you grab it, you can grab too much. Another recommendation is never pour out of the container. Always pour into a separate, have your seasonings in a separate vessel and grab them either with a tablespoon or your fingers and do a little bit at a time.
I think I saw another question in the chat, Crystal, that I may have overlooked.
Yes. So what type of pots and pans should be used for quality cooking? That's also
Type of what?
Anita. Pots and pans, what type would you recommend?
You're welcome, Andrea. What type of pots and pans will you recommend that is more, what did she say, for quality cooking, or what was the?
Yeah, quality cooking.
Okay.
It really depends on what you're going to make.
Okay.
So there is no one, you mean in terms of brand name, in terms of what they're made of?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Does she mean like Faberware as opposed to the ones you may get in National Wholesale?
I don't.
Or Mace,
I like stainless steel. Anything that's, she said aluminum or steel.
It really depends on the application. So there's no one answer to that.
We're not hearing, Chef.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure my list doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could truly tell you guys it's smelling so good. Oh my gosh.
Show off.
Oh, okay. Anita says Rachel Ray over Faberware. I think she said.
I won't advocate for any one particular brand because I can't really speak to. I really look for. So if you're sautéing, right? Your flat skillets. Typically, I will use aluminum pans with no coating because that's how I learned in school, and that's aluminum conducts heat very well. And when you're sautéing, you want high heat, you want it fast, and it's very quick cooking. If I'm making, for example, pastry cream, right, or pudding, I'm going to want stainless steel. I'm going to want something that's a little thick because when you're making those preparations, it's a lower heat. You don't want it to be too aggressive. You don't want things sticking to the bottom of the pan. So you're going to want to use a heavy bottom pot for making any thick sauces that require a long cooking time. They can also be stainless steel on the inside, generally not aluminum, and that's so that you don't get residue. So when you're cooking with aluminum, you end up getting residue sometimes, from the metal if you scrape a lot. Cast iron can be used in almost any preparation. It's one of my favorite mediums to cook on. You can do sauces, you can do high heat, you can do low heat, you can do casseroles. So it really depends. And then it really depends on what you're cooking with. So if you're cooking with high acid foods, you're going to want to go with stainless steel versus aluminum, right? Because the acid in the foods reacts with the inside of the pan. So when you hear recipes or read recipes that say mix these ingredients in a non-reactive container, they mean don't use aluminum.
Yes, for
Right?
those
Don't
reasons.
use something like glass, plastic, or stainless steel. So that's what. But I won't advocate for any one particular brand.
All right.
There's a lot of good brands out
Yeah.
there.
The only brand he's advocating for is
We don't have cookware yet.
Anita, you're welcome. Thank you for the questions. I like the interactive part of it. And also, Ms. Brown said thank you for answering the question that I asked about the salt. Yeah, especially for some of us Caribbeans, we're always being told that we have that high blood pressure, and I know salt is a major factor. But I'm the opposite. I have low blood pressure, trying to keep it that way. Although that's not as good too, because causes a whole bunch of other issues. Yeah, keep your questions coming, everybody, definitely. But I could tell you, Joe, I'm sorry you're not here, but I could tell you the smell. Oh my gosh.
Mushrooms are almost ready.
I can't wait to eat. Again, I'm just showing you some of the sources that Chef Lewis has. And like he said, this is a coming attraction. Once he gets this finalized, this will be out. Then these are the two.
Marie,
I'm sorry?
it's Catherine. Had a quick
Hi,
question for the chef. What has been his favorite dish to cook for catering purposes?
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Well, nice question. See, Catherine, I knew you were quiet. I'm like,
Yeah,
what? From Catherine?
I was just like having a fight with Zoom, like technical. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're on.
Yeah.
It really depends.
Okay.
From a
If you
quick,
guys are not talking, can you mute your phone, please? Thank you. Okay,
from a
sorry.
cook's perspective, we're going to say anything that's quick cooking that requires little to no cleanup. From a flavor perspective, it really depends. If I'm outdoors and I have access to a grill and that's the kind of venue that I'm cooking at, my favorite thing by far to do is steak and burgers. I love the smell of beef when it hits the grill. I'm a burger person and a steak person. That's my, so if I had to choose, it would be grilling steaks or grilling burgers. All you really need is salt, pepper, and a little bit of oil. As long as it's done properly.
Oh, well. Oh, okay. I'm scared of that. It's okay. Hi, how are you? It's okay.
As long as it's done properly.
Look at the mushroom, guys.
So we soften our mushrooms. So what we're going to do now, they're really, really hot.
They look so good.
We're going to take advantage of
Yeah.
mushrooms have a high water content.
Anita says they look so good. They smell so good, Anita.
So we're going to cover these in foil and just kind of set them on the side and allow the heat.
He's gentle. It's a he, right? Yeah, he's gentle though.
We're going to allow the heat that's accumulated on the
Yes,
mushrooms
Catherine.
to let them steam out to the side of them.
So there's only one more left that he's gonna put on the grill. The chicken breast, right?
Two more.
Oh, two more? Okay.
Running out of time?
It's 12:20. So no, just keep going. Yeah. Well,
We're almost there. We're almost there.
I know you're having a good time, so that's important too.
Right. So again, on the high heat side. So we're going to go with our chicken breast. Now we're going to move. These are just about done.
Oh, don't look like. Yeah. Anita says she's inspired to cook. That's great. That's great. I'm glad you guys are coming with the comments. It's nice because it's keeping it very interactive.
Now, to speed up the process a little bit here, I'm going to hang on almost cooked chicken side. Up above, it's still away from the heat source. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on this burner and previously off. Scrape this side of the grill a little bit.
One thing I could say is that chef is being very good with, you know, making sure he's cleaning the surface and everything like that. So there's another question. Does the chef have a cookbook?
Not yet.
And I would say not yet,
Not
but
yet. Maybe
he's
it's coming.
naming it and claiming it, Anithia. So
Do you have a blog though, chef, like where you post?
I do. I started a blog. It's got 3 entries so far, and because of everything that's kind of happening, I'm trying to manage all facets of this.
Okay.
The blog entry in a while.
Okay.
So I'm doing all this promotion and production and everything basically almost on my own. So it's
Okay.
a good problem to have to be this busy. But we got some other exciting things coming.
okay, great.
So we're going to try to work, but we do have 3 entries to get the blog started. So you guys can head over to fatherandsonskitchen.com. Okay, so now with this steak, I have 2 options, right? And in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half.
I'm not even a meat person, and the food, guys, I'm not even a meat person, but everything is smelling so good.
So I'm going to cut this in half so that we can facilitate, and then the rest we'll just kind of cook on camera. So we can get the show on the road as far as.
You're doing a great job, Louis.
Thank you.
Such a great job. This is so much fun.
We're trying.
Yeah.
All right, so this has already been seasoned. The grill's back up to like 425 degrees. There's a lot of heat there. And now I can see the smoke coming out. So now we're going to take the larger piece of skirt steak.
Right. Oh, so that one goes on the higher heat. So you
Right.
did the chicken on a lower heat, and then, okay,
Right.
got it.
So
Okay.
now,
So you see that, guys, right? So the chicken was done on a very low heat, and it was done quickly. And now you see that he's
Now-
put in,
everything got raised. Now,
Yes.
Now we want to finish everything.
right.
off. So the steak goes on last. Steak is probably going to be done before these chicken breasts.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You figured chicken would cook quicker, no?
Okay. So everything's in. We're going to close this for about 5 minutes. Also going to remove the stuff.
Okay.
Already
So
done.
did you guys see that chef removed the smoker box? And now everything's on the grill, and it will be on the grill for about 5 minutes.
So we're going to let the heat redistribute in there for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to hit the chicken with the appropriate barbecue sauce. Steak gets no sauce.
Okay.
The steak we kind of want to stand alone on its own merit, along with the sides.
Okay.
But the chicken,
Mhm.
we'll do a quick tasting.
Okay.
So
So
I'm sorry. And this bottle here is our sweet and tangy recipe, and then we have our 2 other flavors over here. That are all I will tell you right now is that they're both tropical fruit based. They're also a tribute to my heritage from Puerto Rico. So we pick tropical fruits. They're not exclusive to Puerto Rico, but they're very popular in Puerto Rico. But the 2 fruit that we use are actually representative of almost the entire Caribbean.
Yeah, so I'm Caribbean. Some of us on here are Caribbean.
One is spicy and one isn't. That's all you guys get.
Right.
So one of them is in here, and the other one is in here.
So these are the ones that people need to guess, right?
These are the ones that people need to guess.
So
I will tell you the one that I have my finger on now. This is the spicy one. This is the non-spicy one, and both are based in tropical fruit. Each one representing its own single fruit.
So did you guys hear that? So these are the ones that's still waiting to be named.
And we go to the website to enter the contest, correct?
Exactly.
Yes. There's a big blue button on the homepage. As soon as you go to fatherandsonskitchen.com, There's a big blue button. It's the first thing you see, and it'll direct you right to the page where you can make your entries. We're accepting entries up until 7:31.
So I'm showing you guys, right, so that you can see texture and color, right? Okay. Okay. I need the, so these are the two, because I know you were saying you want, so these are the ones that's readily available right now.
Yes.
Can you see them?
And the 16-ounce size is actually not going into production
okay,
again. This
cool.
is like one of the last bottles that's left.
Okay, this one here.
The large one.
So did you hear what Chef said? So you see the size of this? This is like the last one he has left in this size, which is the 16-ounce. Now his sauces will become in what size is
12
it?
ounce.
12 ounces.
12 ounces.
So these are the 12 full. This is the 16, but this is like the last of the 16-ounce, okay? And again, this is on its way.
And Marie,
Yes, there.
I had a question for the chef.
Sure.
How did he go about the design of it? Because I know it's, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of trial and errors that you go through, but because his design, just, you know, of being with my background and just coming across many chefs, it's really distinct and it stands out from anything I've seen. I've been in the hotel business for the last 20 years, and your stuff looks really good as far as design and the layout of it. And even the color is a color, it makes it pop from anything else that I've seen in the market.
Well, thank you. That was exactly the goal.
Yeah.
So the barbecue sauce and condiment business in general, it's a very saturated market. So I didn't want to be just another sauce that kind of got lost in the mix with all these typical names and typical designs. Folks have anything from pictures of pigs and cows and, you know, ranchers on their bottles. So I was going for a certain look and feel that kind of would mimic something you would see at a gourmet shop versus like a traditional barbecue shop. So the picture is actually a picture of myself and my son as we were creating the sauce when he was about 4 years old. So that part of the logo was very easy. Once we decided to call it Father and Sons, we said, well, we have to take now a picture of me and my son. Turning this over. I'm sorry, I just want to be conscious that I don't want to overcook my meat.
As you can tell, he's very passionate about what he does. Very passionate.
So before I continue answering the question, so we're going to hit the chicken now. This chicken on top has been cooking already for the better part of at least 45 minutes now. So you always want a sauce at the end, primarily because sauce contains sugar, and you don't want those sugars to start burning. So you always want to put the sauce on during the last couple of minutes of cooking. If I were to cook this sauce for 45 minutes, you'd end up with very bitter and burnt pieces of sugar on your meat, and you know, no one really wants that. Now we're going to close this again with so the design of the logo, you know, I wanted it to, you know, I looked at other brands, I saw what was out there, and a couple of brands, the ambiance that I wanted to mimic was a brand called Stonewall Kitchen. So Stonewall Kitchen puts out a variety of marinades and sauces. They make barbecue sauce, they make Asian dipping sauces, they make salad dressings, and even on their barbecue sauce, in order to know that it's barbecue sauce, you have to actually look at the label because it doesn't really scream typical barbecue. So I wanted a logo and a label design that not only would showcase the barbecue sauce, but as we make other products, it'll be like a one-size-fits-all design that didn't identify us only as a maker of barbecue sauce. So that's kind of like how we came up with the design. I mean, we do work with a designer. I am an artist by no means. I have a lot of ideas, but I do have a graphic designer who's wonderful. She helped me design the label. She helped me design the final logo. She also designs our giveaway stickers. She also designed the template for this table runner, which is actually the backdrop for the actual sauce label that has kitchen utensils, pots, and pans. So we kind of wanted to give it like a homey feel, but also give tribute to the fact that barbecue sauce is actually my passion. So I think it's a nice balance of the two ideas. I hope I answered the question.
Catherine, was that good for you?
Yes, yes. And my follow-up
Thank you.
question is,
Uh-huh.
as you said, you're of Puerto Rican descent. As you know, in our Latino market, we need more people like you, because a lot of times I see very basic stuff when I go to a supermarket, or if I go to a fancy restaurant, everything is just like mainstream. There's nothing really to identify a certain group of people, and I think also we need to see more of that, because a lot of times we just go to what the mainstream is. We don't go to support our own, especially now with what is happening with Goya. I think it's an opportunity for us as Latinos to be like, you know what, let me create X, Y, and Z, because there's a need, because there's a huge in social media. It's very unfortunate, a cancel culture. And when cancel culture happens in social media, especially, you're done. And that's just an opportunity for other entrepreneurs starting out to bring, things like your sauces to the market.
I appreciate that statement. I really have nothing to follow up with on that.
On that note, Catherine,
I could be your guinea pig. I am fluent Latina, and I will translate.
So I can't speak to as a brand and as a family-based brand. It's kind of tough. The toughest thing I think for me is separating my own personal beliefs with everything that's happening in the state of social affairs in our country right now. So I try to separate as much as possible my own personal beliefs from what my brand stands for. And our brand stands for unity,
inclusion,
family, happiness, positive vibes, involving your children in what you do. So it speaks to all those. So that's kind of like the mood we try to set. So we try not to align ourselves, although I do have my personal beliefs and they do exist. We try to keep those kind of like in the background, because that's just good marketing. We don't want to make it seem like we're taking one side or the other. I'm all about empowering local businesses, especially in the Latino community, the Caribbean community. I'm a minority. I've grown up in New York City all my life, never lived anywhere else. So I am aware of the challenges that, folks that come from my similar type of background are facing. I'm happy that you think this is an opportunity for us to showcase that. So when we finally do release the labels and the names of the two new flavors, I think we're going to make a lot of people happy. It's definitely going to make a statement. And when people think barbecue, they typically don't think like Puerto Rico, right? Even though in the Caribbean.
Exactly.
Yeah, they think it's the southern.
Well, I got, a little tidbit of information. If not for the Taino people of the Caribbean countries, which includes the Dominican Republic, Haiti, parts of Jamaica, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the Antilles. And the style of preserving meat over slowly cooking coals. Our people had a big hand in creating that. And then it migrated to the South, and then it turned into something different. So a lot of people really don't think, Puerto Rico with barbecue. And we're kind of trying to change the face of that a little bit. Not to say that we want to be exclusive or claim complete ownership, but we are a part of that history. And I do want to bring more awareness to the fact that our indigenous peoples played a part in what's now become a big cultural phenomenon throughout America, which is, American barbecue. So in that small niche sense, I am trying to bring more awareness. So be on the lookout for the two new flavors. I think you guys are going to be surprised, especially with the design of the label.
So you see, this is what Coffee and Conversation is all about, right? It's not just about the networking and the connecting, but you also, like I said earlier, is the learning. So we just saw, or just heard, I should say, Chef Lewis dropped some nuggets on us, right? So this is why it's so important to hear from other alums because everybody brings something to the table. We all can learn. We've all, established our degrees and everything like that, but it's continuously learning, and that's what Coffee and Conversation brings about. So great question, Catherine and Chef Lewis. That was a great, great answer.
Ready to rock and roll.
All right. All right, guys.
It's a lot to sit through. It's a nice day. People want you to get outside.
I know.
It's gonna be like 125 degrees.
I know.
So maybe people will understand.
They actually wish that they can come right here, Chef, and have something to eat. Yes. Anita said, "Is it time to eat? Send her the address." Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to have a piece of this.
Before we slice into this, what I do is, so I'm wrapping everything in foil.
So good, guys.
You typically like to let almost any kind of meat, you want to let it rest.
So as you remember, this was what Chef had put on these chicken cutlets before he put it on the grill, right?
Yes.
So look at this. Look at the after look. Look at how golden this looks, guys. Beautiful. I'm definitely gonna have to get this when this is released because I love to cook. As Crystal knows, I'm always posting. I don't know if I love to cook or what it is. I love to eat good food. So
yes, and a good season makes the difference.
So I'm definitely gonna get this when it's released, guys, for sure.
Okay, so now, how many well-done folks do we have in the house? Any? No?
Okay.
So I can pull my stick?
Look, our hostess, Anita said she is.
What was the question?
How many well-done folks, meaning that if you like your meal well done.
Yes, well done, please.
Crystal says well done. When Crystal comes back to us, she'll definitely have it well done.
Common question that I get. So now I'm going to hit this chicken.
Yeah, Andrea Brown said well done.
So we're going to take one of our tropical barbecue sauces. And we're going to hit 2 pieces of chicken with that. And then we're going to take the spicy one.
Catherine said yes, yes, yes. She'll bring her Tupperware. And Catherine will travel.
Yes, I will.
So what we have working over here is the 2 in the front are new tropical, not spicy, and the one in the back is spicy. So we're just going to take the basting brush and kind of clean that out. I told you the steak was going to be ready before the chicken. So now we're going to take, a lot of people ask me, how long do you cook a steak for? Like, how do you know? I can't tell you how many steaks I overcooked in the beginning as a line cook. It's cooking on my home stove and cooking on a backyard grill was a lot different than cooking in a hotel restaurant. Basically, there's no real formula in terms of minutes. What you really need to assess, like I said in the beginning of the conversation, is the size and thickness and weight of your ingredients and piece of meat. So the skirt steak is a cut that's typically larger on one side and tapers down to a thin end. So the end is going to cook a lot quicker. These got thrown on at the same time. So the pieces here are going to be more well cooked than, say, the ones up top. So now what we're going to do is wrap this up.
So I'm sorry. Why do you put it in the foil again? I believe you answered that.
So
but
with most of the meats, almost any meat that you cook, whether you're grilling a steak, whether you're doing a large rib roast, whether you're doing a roast turkey or a roast chicken, you typically want to let the meat rest to allow the juices and the fat and the liquid to redistribute throughout the meat. And there's also something that's called carryover cooking. So timing is everything when you're working on the grill. And the meat, actually, believe it or not, when we remove it from the heat source, there's going to be anywhere from a 10 to 12 degree spike in temperature, even with no heat source below it. So you want to really just let it continue to do its thing for about 5 to 10 minutes, tented and wrapped.
Right. So it's almost still cooking in a sense.
It is still cooking in a sense.
Okay, got it.
And then what you're going to end up when we open up these pouches, you're going to see residual liquid. And that's what we use sometimes to make pan sauces, or sometimes just to pour right back over the meat after it's sliced.
Okay.
So we are.
Any other questions, guys?
So in the interest of time, what we'll do is, I'm not gonna let you guys sit through me making like 7 wraps, because I don't think that's fair.
Okay.
So what we'll do is, I'll demonstrate the assembly of 1 wrap,
Mhm.
and then maybe we'll take a couple more questions
Yeah,
after that, and then
yeah.
we'll kind of like sit down and wrap it up. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that sounds good. So, Anithia said, and she's just really being so interactive. I appreciate you guys for doing that. She said she would definitely have to get a indoor grill, I guess, because she lives in an apartment building. So,
Yes.
if you were to do this, but you do not have a backyard, how would you be able to do some of what
Yes,
you've prepared for us today?
A great alternative is getting a cast iron grill pan, which typically takes up like 2 burners on your stove. That's a good alternative. You want to make sure that your kitchen is well ventilated. Maybe a fan. If you have a vent hood, or even the circulating fan above like your range, you definitely want that because it's going to get hot and there's going to be some fumes. But yes, if you're grilling indoors, that's a good alternative. There's a lot of electric grills that are kind of like user friendly that you can use. And if you don't have access to any one of those, you can really duplicate this with a simple skillet over some high heat, some patience, cooking batches, and then transferring your items to a baking sheet, finishing them off in the So from pan to oven is always a good alternative, if you don't have setup available to you.
Catherine just dropped in the chat one of the grills, so you guys can check the chat. Catherine just put the name of a grill, a home grill, or a grill that could be used in the home. I'm sorry about that. That could be used in the home. So you can she just put that in there. All right. Any other question, guys? Because it looks like it's almost time to eat. Okay. So chef is going to put a wrap together for us and see how he puts all of this what he prepared. And I'll definitely, be sharing with you guys how it's. Oh, he has a spinach wrap. Oh my God. So one thing I can say is that the chef had asked me because I had said that I don't eat meat. So he was like, if I had any restrictions, and that's a true chef, right? A person who definitely asks, like, if you have any food restrictions, right, or allergies or anything like that.
Right.
So I appreciate that he had asked.
Well,
He had asked that.
in the service industry,
Yeah.
a lot of time really
Right.
is making sure people are happy.
Right. So guys, can you see the spinach wrap?
Okay, so we're gonna make Anne-Marie's wrap first.
Okay.
Since it's just the right thing to do.
So I feel special.
We've got some organic mixed greens.
Oh my God, right up my alley.
Some baby spinach.
Right up my
some
alley.
Baby chard and baby kale. So
Right up my alley. So I hope you guys had a great time today. And just, this was so interactive. Number one, like I said again, it was really great to be outside. And this is what we do for Coffee and Conversation. We definitely want to showcase what our alums have done. A lot of us have graduated with me. I graduated with my bachelor's like 20-something years ago. Went on to get my master's somewhere else before Monroe had a master's degree program. But I've always been passionate about my activities at Monroe. I've been on the alumni board, I don't know how many years now, I think 15, 16, it's been such a long time, I don't even remember anymore, but I've always been passionate about giving back to Monroe and being a part of the successes of Monroe. And I started this program last year, and it has really, Anithia, 2005, okay, congrats. So we have just, again, it's really about connecting, networking, learning, growing. It's a safe space. So if you have any suggestions of anything that you would like to see in our Coffee and Conversation event, please let us know. I'm sorry you can't see me, guys. I'll definitely turn the camera back around near the ending. But we appreciate you guys, and stay connected with us. Reach out to Crystal on the Monroe Connect. We're always, sharing information there. Whenever we're doing the Coffee and Conversation, we put the information on there, on LinkedIn also. And also what you can do is join us live on Tuesdays at 6:30 on the Monroe Alumni Association page. We always are doing something. Maxine Roman said, I see you, Dada. Is that one of your friends? Maxine Roman said, I see you, Dada. Is that one of your friends? Maxine, nice. Maxine, welcome. Welcome for joining us. Thank you so much, Maxine. We appreciate that. We appreciate you. Oh, wow, look at that. I'm so looking forward to meeting this guy.
Anne Marie, the sound went down a little again.
Okay, sorry. So you guys
I think is your finger on the sound, the mic?
No, it's not.
Oh.
Maybe just the way I was holding it. It wasn't like tilted onto his voice. Can you hear me now or no? Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you, just not as clear as before.
Okay. What about now?
Yes, it's a little muffled.
Yeah, Maxine said it's a little muffled too.
Yeah.
I think, is it the mask? Maybe I should, how's that without the mask? I pulled it down a bit.
Say something?
No, I was saying I pulled the mask down a little bit. These bloody masks, I'm British, so I can say that word. These masks. Maxine said just saying. Please continue. So is there stuff now or no? You guys hear me now? Good?
Still a little muffled.
I don't know why, because my fingers not even moving down the microphone. Okay, so.
And your hands are not touching the speaker or the mic on your phone.
Actually, at the top of the phone, like on the bottom of the So we've filled our wrap with the mixed greens and our salted mushrooms, which will serve as like the meat texture substitute. And then we're gonna go ahead. Can you guys hear him now? Because my phone is not up. My finger's not touching anything. We're gonna go ahead with the fruit combo.
That is so strange. But go ahead and talk, chef. Just talk a little louder than before.
So we put some mushrooms and greens in here for this hamburger, and now we're doing the combination of our two cold combo applications. Jordan. Now we're just about ready to close this up. So basically, we're going to take the two edges, close the back end, and sort of tuck it off. It's okay if some stuff comes out. We're going to make more than one. Once we have everything, serving. So as you can see, the inside is facing one way, and facing the opposite way. So now I have to make like 12 more of these. Can you guys see it? So this, we'll call this our, Crystal, can you guys see?
Yes, we can see it. We want to know, we all want to know if we can use Postmate or Uber Eats to get, to have it delivered to us.
So I'm gonna actually do my first tasting. My gosh.
You look so happy right now, Anne Marie.
And the fact that it's a vegetarian one, the taste of you can taste everything. The corn and black bean salad and the mango mixed together with the mushrooms. Oh my God, it's to die for, guys.
So we're just gonna do one more thing here, like this. steak guy. And we're gonna move the steak over to the wooden cutting board.
This is so delicious.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
All right, so we're gonna turn this around, kind of go against the grain. And these actually stayed on probably a little longer than I would have liked. Some of them are like medium well, so it's only like slightly pink.
Thanks, Maxine. Oh, wow. Wanna go get one or?
All right, so there goes our skirt. And there you guys have it. Any more questions? We're going to continue with making the wraps. You guys want to wrap it up?
So does anybody else have any more questions for Chef? We want to thank him so much for this wonderful event today. I mean, he did such a great job. And I agree with who said that he was so personable. He really is. Even from talking to him before the actual event, going back and forth and getting prepared for today, he's just been so gracious. And I'm so happy that we could have him on. We appreciate him. Don't
It's a little
forget,
hot out here.
it's very hot. But don't forget, I know Crystal dropped the information about his website and also his Facebook page and Instagram. Please support him. He's one of our own. He has his own business, entrepreneur. We're here to support them, especially in these trying times right now. They need all the help they can get. His sources, here they are. Don't forget to go on his site and check out these two that he's waiting for people to
Name the flavors
name the
contest.
flavors, okay?
You guys can win some free sauce and other goodies.
Does anybody else have anything to say?
It was just a lovely time having you, Chef. Like, I've
Thank you,
learned a
thank
lot
you.
of little nuggets. I am jealous that I'm not there with Anne Marie because yeah, now I'm boost. Like, I really feel like I want to go fire up the grill and make something.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, but thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for always being willing to, when we ask, you're willing to just participate and just keep connected.
The pleasure's mine.
And we thank you guys. We thank you for joining. Like I said, next week we have another segment. We'll have some of our other entrepreneurs on. Look for us every other week. Crystal and I rotate by going live on the Tuesday. Sometimes we'll just do an impromptu. But, as I've always said, take care of yourself. Do whatever we need to do to stay protected and stay safe. And we'll see you guys next week. And I want to see the chat lighten up with all the applause and the fires and everything for Chef Lewis. We thank you so much.
Yes, and this video will also be on Facebook, so you guys can go and put your comments and your feedback on Facebook.
Yeah, but light up that chat book. Give him applause. Fire it up, fire it up, fire it up. It was really a great segment. And we thank you, Chef Lewis. And guess what? Now I'm going to go finish off my wrap. Thank you. My godson is here. My handsome godson came to support today. So he's been helping me holding the camera and everything. But we thank you. Thank you, Chef Lewis.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chef, and thank you, Anne Marie.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Stay safe. Wear your mask.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Lewis. Bye. Thank you, Anithia. Yeah.
One with chicken or all vegetables.
Yeah. Can we get a picture with? Can he get a picture of the two?